Hello and welcome to my favourite repaint so far. It's inspired by Delightful's fairies because the hair of the first one reminded me so much of a Japanese algae ball. Let's jump into it. So you get the immense satisfaction, because it's a reroot, to pull out these tiny little hairs. I would recommend not using scissors because it cut up the rubber in the neck. And then you get the further satisfaction of clearing off the face, though admittedly you get that every time. And we're into the reroot. Well, technically cutting the hair for the reroot. So I used some very soft green yarn and made sure it's the same length by twirling it around this paint sample book. It just looks really cool, so I kept it. And basically cut it the same length, and then I unravelled it, and as you can see it's nice little textured. It's kind of softer, and I think nicer this way. And it will have more volume because there'll be less space in between them. It'll kind of fill a ball of space. So I'm just going into tiny little bits. And I always start around the face because that's where all of the business is happening. It's the important part for me. And I kept it short. I actually think I should have kept it this length. It was it was one way round the booklet, rather than twice. It probably would have been a nicer ball shape if I just used these ones, but you know, you live and you learn. I might do this again. I quite liked this, so I probably will. And after it's all rerooted, we get to see the worst shot haircut that I've ever seen. And a pretty shoddy one, but it's supposed to be imperfect. Algae doesn't form in stripes, so you had to cut it down. And we're into the repaint. Sorry about the wibbliness, I didn't have my tripod at this point, so I was using a suspended iPhone. But I've got the picture, my design next to her, so I think that helped with me making it accurate. And I also I think the mould was very suited for the eye shape I was trying to achieve. I didn't manage to get the surliness I think I accidentally put in the image, but I think this is my favourite so far in terms of achieving what I intended to achieve. And as you should see throughout this, I kind of developed various techniques and apparently had my hair in the shot, where I used watercolours and the water part of it, so not just pencil, because you know, I did watercolour before I did this, so it's kind of, I would say, my area of expertise, but I'm not that good at it. Also, I I obviously didn't know where the shooting space was because I kind of jumped out of it. So starting layer 2, we've kind of got the basic shapes, and we're just kind of making the lines clearer so that in the next layer we can kind of do the proper colouring in and detail work. The one thing I spent the most time on was kind of getting a clear eyeliner shape. So she's kind of supposed to be monolided, but I think the sculpt kind of gave her an eyelid, but I purposefully didn't give her eyelashes or kind of makeup because she's kind of natural and kind of Japanese. I don't know how much I've achieved that, but she's got green skin, so she's not gonna ever look fully Japanese. Add more volume to the Marimo balls. Nice bright healthy green. coming up is what I feel is my real stroke of genius. Is that a term? It's this kind of darker green, and I think this really worked to bring the eyes kind of to life a bit, kind of bring a bit of life to them, just kind of because it's shading and it's kind of a brighter green and it's less monotone with that nice mossy colour. It's just, you know, a nice gradient, which I think using the watercolours as watercolours really helped with. So we're coming up to the final layers. It's layer 3. This one didn't take many layers, I think because I had an idea of what I was doing, and so I'm just kind of getting the colours and the lines and getting everything all finished. It was a really short layer because there wasn't that much to do. It's just kind of finishing off for this layer. So we're finally adding some light and life to the eyes with some eye shines, kind of bringing a bit of realism. It's not that realistic, but it kind of brings their eyes to life. They're not just like dull looking, you know? Just like staring into the abyss. And they've just got nice tiny dots, and you'll see I'm incredibly shaky. Well, I just saw a visible shake, and I redid it I think just once. I accidentally smeared it with my finger. I must have redone it twice then, but I'm not really sure whether I'm supposed to keep so both of them have shines to the right side or kind of mirror the shines. I think I'm probably supposed to mirror the shines, but this is what I did this time. I'll kind of experiment with that, I think. With our beautiful doll created, she needs an outfit. So I got this from design from Requiem Designs on Etsy. Very reasonable prices, I think. The only reasonable price I found. And here I'm just making the collar. So it's the two-layer, two-colour collar. Kind of the inner and outer yakata for the kimono. The kind of cutesy kimono design. Now we prepare where the collar's going to go. So this kind of the front of the bodice. I've already sewn up the back of the bodice. It's an interesting design where it's kind of the front left and front half, and then you sew it down the middle line. I think you'll be able to see it better when you see it later. And then this is the underskirt, so it's a two-layer skirt, and I accidentally did the pattern the wrong way round, or folded it in the wrong way round. So I used this nice wavy, watery blue ribbon to kind of mask my inadequacy. Now onto the sleeves. As you can see, it's got 3 areas, and I actually did the sewing too low. So where I'm sewing is where the armpit is. So if you're doing this yourself, do it differently, and then just flipping it inside out. So you can see it's a nice shiny material from proper fabric, and I think it's pretty cute. So this is what it looks like. One sleeve done, on to the next. And when that's done, then you need to attach the bodice to the skirt. I did a little embroidery of a goldfish on the skirt that took me, it's not very good, but it still took me about 2 hours. And by that I mean 4 episodes of House, because that's how I was spending the holidays. Outfit done, we're on to shoes. I used papier-mâché to make little toe socks, and then some craft foam, that's the term, to make little sandals. They don't look that good. I think I will try harder and do some polymer clay shoes eventually. Just adding straps to the little sandals, just My favourite thing about Marimo is their cute ball-like algae shape, but also that these little algae balls will sprout new little algae balls. So I had this idea from the beginning but didn't know how to do it. So I definitely recommend, if you're going to do something like this, to do it before you do the repaint, because you can crack the paint. But I managed not to. But basically I'm making these tiny little pom-poms. I've made a medium and a small sized according to this set, and then left this longer string to root that into the head, which was dramatic, as you will see. So it's hard enough to get it on the string, but another reason to do it while you're rerouting in the beginning is because it's incredibly hard to push through the glue, so that probably increases your chance of cracking the face. And this little ball one, not that bad. Obviously it was kind of a loose spot. However, the big one broke my needle, as you will soon see, very dramatically. This girl has broken my needle, bent my needle. Look at that. No prongs, but man was it worth it. I'm really happy with her. I think she's really cute and just so happy. And I hope you guys liked her too, so thank you, come again.